This is a Mirage. This is a Mirage 144 through 148 megahertz, 10 in and 160 out. Little 2-pill 2-meter, type accepted. Yay! Make more jizz on 2-meter amplifier. Okay, so I got to do this one right away because this guy's getting ready to leave the country. That, and I've had it since October of last year. Mr. BBI, we spoke on the phone earlier this summer. Here is my amp for September repair orders. This is like the very first one I got in. Original Mirage, leaving out where you're from. 1x2 Motorola was in my Chevy truck at least 15 years. Please bring it back to service and something other 30 plus years. Oh, and make it last another 30 plus years. All the wires are old, etc. It would be nice if you can upgrade it to a Toshiba. He wants me to upgrade it to the Toshiba transistors, which actually might help this out a little bit. The problem is I don't have them on hand. This has got Motorola SRF 3417s in it as the final stage, and then the driver is the MRF 450. That'd have to be like the MRF, or was it Toshiba 2890 or something. 92 or 71 or whatever it is. I'd have to go look this up. I don't even know if I can get those anymore. Let me look at that. But primarily what we're doing here is basically just replacing the power wires that come out of the back. Make sure everything is still in fully functional order. Remember this MOSFET from a previous video on a Mirage? This little MOSFET, the preamp MOSFET? Boy, I sure do. I'll never forget that as long as I live. This is our output tuning inductor. One driving two. Sounds like I'm talking about a CB amplifier. Let me go look this transistors up and see if I can even get those anymore. Okay, so the part that we're talking about is a 2SC 2782A. Is the part that we're talking. It's a 90 watt part. This is like an 80 watt part. So we're talking 10 more watts. So out of this we would get almost 200 watts versus 160. Is it really worth it on 2 meters? I don't think so. You know, I can take a BLF 188 XR at 50 volts, and on the same size heatsink I can make 1,000 watts. Like almost full legal limit out of that same device versus these little bipolars. That's the reason that we've moved on away from bipolars, but nobody in the radio world that I'm used to quite gets it, but it's all good. This is the time where I call the customer and we have a little powwow about what he wants to do. I have a feeling, because of the time restraint that we're under, that we're going to replace these two wires. We're going to hook it up, we're going to test it, and we're going to move on. We'll see. I don't have the words to describe to you how nice it is to actually be out here working and not be getting interrupted by the phones, like the company phone. I'm like beyond myself excited today. Today has been a wonderful day. Just being able to get out here and work. And I had a whole day worth of errands that saved up from the last 2 weeks. So we've hydraulically crimped this, and we're going to capitalize on the fact that when we hydraulically crimp this with the right tool, it punches a hole in it. We're going to use that to sneak some solder down in here so we can get ourselves a new little connector installed here. There, perfect. Now let that cool off for a second and then we'll get some heat shrink. I am excited. We are going to make some videos here. I'm here to tell you what. Man, I'm dizzy. I just went out and we're putting up Christmas lights, and I got a big flagpole in my front yard and I wrapped it in red and blue lights, so I just went. Yeah, I'm dizzy. Okay, so let's start here. This is a 25 watt 2 meter element on the input side. Then over here on the output side, we have a 250 watt element and a 5 watt element. Now, before we go any further, god dang, I'm dizzy. I'm cursing you, Zane, and I'm cursing you, cue ball. The only flat space I got available in here that I could stick these guys' stupid giant tube amps is right here, right where I work. So I'm having to, you should see this dance that I'm having to do to get around stuff. Sorry, gentlemen. Didn't mean to knock you out of frame like that. I kicked the camera trying to dance around these stupid big amplifiers. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to throw it in the trash. The friggin' Henry. It's all, anyhow. Let's see here. That was a joke, of course. A joke, of course. Okay, so 10 watt element here and forward. We're not using this element, this meter at all, because we're not in peak. There's no point. So we're just going to work with carrier power, phase modulated at this point, but frequency modulated power. We're going to use my ICOM 2730 as our drive radio. So let's make sure our amplifier is off. Our amplifier is off. And let me show you base carrier. So it wants 10 watts maximum input. Well, on a 10 watt element, we're doing about 8 watts. So with 10 watt or 8 watts worth of drive, hold on, before we pull that out of there, what's this thing do on low? So low, let's see, what is that? Does 2 watts. Okay, so we'll start out on low. Let's jump over to the 250 watt element now. So 2 watts looks like on a 250 watt element. So now remember, we're reading at top scale. Okay, so that's right at 100 watts with 2 watts going in. And we're getting about 1.5 watts worth of reflect here, back from the Bird 10,000 watt dummy load. Don't forget this is an HF dummy load, but it'll work on all the way up to, well, I put 70 centimeters in it, so is what it is. All right, let's back this out. And now we're going to look at this meter and combined with these 2 meters. So we got 0 input reflect, which is good, but only 2 watts going in. 1.5 watts worth of output reflect and 100 watts going out. So now we're going to change this to mid. Let's shut the amplifier off. That's our 10 watts worth of carrier. That's what it looks like on that meter. We have 0 reflect going through the amplifier, which is good. And there's our 180, just like that. And it's about 2 watts worth of reflect, which is pretty good. So on that 250 watt scale, 20, remember we're reading the top element, the top range. So here's 200 watts, okay? It's right at about 180 watts, 160 watts, which is perfect, which is absolutely perfect. This amplifier works fine. There's not anything that I need to do here. So all we did to this is, well, I made it a little bit more flexible for him. He wanted just a certain amount of length of wire. And this is high temp, super soft, mega high strand count, 10 gauge wire, okay? In my RC car world, this length of wire will pass 200 amps through this length of wire and not even blink about it. But we only do it for a couple seconds. Just saying. So what I did is I went ahead and I hooked up an Anderson clip. Remember, we're only talking about 150 watts worth of output power. All right, so we're pulling what? 44 amps. .43 amps, so we're well within inside what this Anderson clip can do. So instead of me giving him like 35 foot of wire, I can just use the clip and then provide him with his own clip. And then he can tell me, oh, I need X amount of feet, and I can hook him up with wire, and then it'll make it easier for him to remove. That way he's not cutting it off, click, at the back of the amp anymore. He can just change out to a new clip. Abandon this lead in his next vehicle and just go out and off of eBay or Amazon or whatever, buy these little clips, a 50 amp Anderson clip, and be done. Well, gentlemen, I called and I talked with a customer this morning, and he has decided that he does not feel it's necessary to put Toshibas in this, so we're done. This little Mirage is done. These are a good little amplifier. They've been around for a hot minute. They work great. I happen to have one of these myself that I use in the wife's vehicle. She loves it because all she's got to do is flip that one switch. She just leaves it on 24/7, 365. And I'm here to tell you, I never have a problem hearing her, ever. We don't ever use the repeaters, neither. So it's a good little box. 160 watts all day. Good little amp. I'm done. I'm going to pack this thing up. It's got a BBI sticker on the lid. We put brand new rubber feet on the bottom of it for him. It's all cleaned up and ready to go back home. Fully tested, certified, and I'm sure it'll last another 15 years, just the way it sits. Easy. I want to say thanks, guys. This is what I'm doing full time now. I'm really proud of that. We've grown this little business from where I started from 10 years ago into the juggernaut that it is today, and it's all because of you all out there. If you have a minute, I've ever taught you anything, you've ever learned anything from this channel, or you want to see us to continue to grow, take a minute, go over to Patreon. Just give us a little bit of love. It's your way of saying thanks to me for whatever I've done for you, and it's going to guarantee that we're here for a long time. Thanks, gentlemen. I'm out of here. We'll see you. Click.